Which of the following statements is true? A. Taipei Zoo celebrates the Ghost Festival. B. Taipei City has wild deer. Or C. Taiwan has 2 living native cat species. Keep listening to Formosa Fauna to find out which. Spend the next 20 minutes feeding your brain with Formosa Fauna so you can become smarter than all of your friends. Every Friday is Formosa Fauna Friday. Hello, I'm Tristan Hildebrand, the voice of Formosa Fauna. If you're even remotely curious about the animal kingdom, you're in the right place. A bit of good news and a bit of bad news, very bad news today. Let's start off positive. I will say thank you to all of those who are listening and supporting this program, this show, because one episode made it into the AIBs, which is an international news-centric awards ceremony based out of the UK. So next month, I'll be flying to London. I'm up against really tough competitors, so it's just an honor to be shortlisted at all. Then we're also going to talk today about some very bad news, as well as the Ghost Festival in Taiwan, 200 Japanese educators and students that delve into the challenges facing amphibians and reptiles in the age of climate change in Taipei, panda caretakers, and so much more. So let's dive right in. This episode is being recorded with a heavy heart, despite some good news for me, because the news just broke earlier today that the world-renowned primatologist and conservationist Jane Goodall passed away from natural causes at the age of 91. I was supposed to interview Jane Goodall for this show actually a couple of months ago while she was visiting Taiwan, but that day she had come down with some sort of sickness, which can be very dangerous for a person of her age, and it just never happened and never got rescheduled. Jane Goodall flew all across the world, even into her 90s, to spread awareness and get youth involved in being the change that they want to see in their communities through her Roots and Shoots program. In fact, the very day she passed, she was supposed to go speak to another group of students. Hopefully, her legacy will live on long beyond her years. I'm sure it will. And people will continue to spread her research findings, the spirit of her research overall, and continue with the many amazing programs that she began. Taipei Zoo marked the Ghost Festival with a heartfelt ceremony honoring animals that passed away over the past 2 years. Partnering with Zhongshun Temple, the zoo held a traditional ritual to pay tribute to its late residents, blending cultural observance with a touch of remembrance for creatures that had touched the hearts of visitors and keepers alike. Traditionally, the 7th lunar month is known as Ghost Month in Taiwan, when spirits are believed to be able to roam freely among the living. On its 15th day, many people prepare offerings to show respect and bring peace. For its own memorial, the Taipei Zoo prepared special feed as offerings to beloved animals, including Mei Dai, the African elephant, Little Chow, the brown bear, and Ximin, the white rhino. Each of these animals had their own story and their own fans. The zoo said it hopes the ritual not only honors the memory of these animals and just shows that these animals are still important to the zoo despite them not being there currently. They had a true respect for these animals, and it also reminds visitors of the fragility and just value of these precious species. Looking ahead, the zoo plans to continue improving veterinary care and hosting events that celebrate the life stories of its animals, ensuring their journeys are remembered long after they are gone. I haven't really seen something quite like this. I haven't heard of anything quite like this for other zoos, which, I don't know, it kind of made me a little touched by it. It should be something really sad, I guess, but I'm glad to know that the zoo cared so much about them and isn't afraid to bring them back up and celebrate them in a very traditionally Taiwanese way with the Ghost Festival. The Taipei Zoo recently hosted the 64th annual meeting of the Japan Herpetological Society, welcoming more than 200 Japanese educators and students to delve into the challenges facing amphibians and reptiles in the age of climate change. Herpetology is the scientific study of amphibians and reptiles. Locally, over 100 participants from academia, government, and NGOs joined the conference, as there has been a lot of collaboration between Taiwanese and Japanese herpetologists over the years. The event opened with a presentation by Matt Goetz from the Durrell Wildlife Trust out of Jersey Zoo, who shed light on the plight of the Madagascar plowshare tortoise, once numbering around 800 in the wild. In 2014, this rare tortoise was wiped out in its native habitat by 2018 due to illegal wildlife trade. Goetz emphasized how modern zoos and conservation institutions must replicate precise climate, lighting, UV exposure, and dietary environments to sustain such endangered species in captivity. Next came Professor Nishikawa Kanto of Kyoto University, known for his work on Taiwanese salamanders. He discussed the challenges in studying these, what he says, living fossils, especially species in the genus Hynobius, which hide in underground waters and have often been misidentified in earlier surveys. Another speaker, Professor Ota Hidetoshi, reflected on his herpetological journey in Taiwan, how he honed his English through dictionary study and later by guiding foreign visitors, appreciating the kindness of locals who offered him rides between research sites. This conference has seen Taipei Zoo act as sort of a hub for cross-border scientific exchange, and it did reaffirm the responsibilities of many researchers and institutions in protecting amphibians and reptiles under mounting environmental pressure. For the past 14 years, Chao Lanxuan has been a devoted panda keeper at the Taipei Zoo. Another Taipei Zoo story today. And recently, she shared her insights into caring for the zoo's trio of female pandas, Yuan Yuan, Yuan Zai, and Yuan Bao. She described their distinct personalities to Taiwan News. 3 of them, specifically. Okay, the 21-year-old Yuan Yuan, she said, is wise but aging. Yuan Zai, her 12-year-old daughter, is warm and social, and the 5-year-old Yuan Bao is full of energy and bears a strong resemblance to her father. The zoo's panda habitat is thoughtfully designed. It includes 2 indoor zones with climbing structures and pools, plus an outdoor area full of rolling hills, greenery, and play features. During summer, when temperatures rise, the pandas tend to stay indoors as they prefer cooler conditions under about 25 degrees Celsius. The keeper's daily duties are quite hands-on as they feed the pandas, clean their enclosures, monitor their health, and provide behavioral training. Each panda can eat 5 meals a day, consuming 20 to 30 kilograms of bamboo leaves. Just off the top of my head, if you don't know, that is a maximum of about around 70 pounds of bamboo leaves every day, with supplemental treats like fruit and cornmeal buns as well. Every morning, the caretakers weigh the pandas and assess their physical and mental condition. In the afternoons, they perform dental care and basic health checks. To spur activity and enrichment, caretakers hide food or offer toys in their habitats. In Yuan Yuan's cage, age-related treatments like laser therapy are sometimes used, and the team supports socialization training. One particularly stressful period came during the COVID-19 pandemic. Travel restrictions blocked Chinese panda experts from coming to Taiwan to assist with hand-rearing Yuan Bao, so the local team carried the full burden. Some staff remained at the zoo for up to 10 straight days to give around-the-clock care. Despite the daily bustle of visitors, Chow notes the pandas aren't overly disturbed. She does observe, though, that when the zoo closes for its annual 10-day rest period in June, the pandas tend to sleep more soundly. Looking ahead, the zoo remains in dialogue with a panda conservation center in China's Sichuan to explore new panda acquisitions or breeding plans, emphasizing that any decision will prioritize genetic diversity. Above all, Chow hopes visitors see beyond the cuteness. She wants people to appreciate panda behaviors and understand the challenges that these animals face in the wild. Taiwan is set to release an updated national ocean policy white paper by the end of September, according to the Ocean Affairs Council Minister Quan Beating. The announcement was made during a symposium on marine environmental management, where Quan highlighted the pressing challenges facing the world's oceans. These include plastic waste and microplastics entering the food chain, climate change leading to higher sea temperatures, ocean acidification, sea level rise, illegal fishing, overfishing, and emerging pollutants. Additionally, deep sea mining could also pose potential risks to marine ecology. Minister Kwan emphasized the importance of international cooperation in addressing these issues, particularly in regions like Kinmen and Matsu. She called on China to collaborate on marine conservation efforts, stressing that marine waste knows no borders and that the issue transcends political barriers. Director General of the Ocean Conservation Administration, Huang Xiaoyun, added that Taiwan aims to minimize the risks associated with marine pollution, especially ahead of disasters like typhoons. The Blue Ridge Humane Society out of North Carolina in the United States got an audience submission asking for advice on how to handle their overprotective dog. Dog-on-dog aggression and dog-on-other-human aggression can all be forms of perhaps protection your dog feels is necessary to keep you safe. In most cases, it is not necessary to show this aggression, and most owners would probably be better off without worrying whether or not your dog is going to bite another dog or human's hands off. Crystal, their resident pro, responded by saying that people often use the word protective when describing their dog's aggressive behavior towards other dogs and people, but that it is more likely one of two things. One, the dog guarding you from other dogs rather than protecting you. In other words, they don't want to share you. Or two, fear. She says it would be helpful to know whether or not the dog does it only when on a leash or also when off a leash, whether the dog does it just at your home or also outside. Crystal warns that the more stressors dogs are exposed to, the more likely they are to act out aggressively. By noting the things the dog displays stress or fear at, owners can help narrow it down to a set of triggers. Becoming a student of dog body language so you can learn what signals dogs give before they progress to the aggressive behaviors is very helpful, says Crystal. Here are some possible signals she says a dog may give if they are feeling fearful or stressed. Lip licking, I didn't really know that one. Yawning, looking away, stiff body, high flagging tail, tucked tail, limp tail, ears back, mouth closed, quick stiff movements, body weight backwards, and or hard eyes. Not sure what hard eyes are. A happy, relaxed dog is loose, and a dog that is stressed is going to be stiff and tight. If you see these signs, move the dog away from the trigger until they are at a distance where they are then relaxing. It is important to establish what a realistic goal is for the dog, but fortunately, Crystal says wanting your dog to peacefully coexist with another dog is an obtainable goal. Wanting them to behave calmly on a leash when they see another dog is also an attainable goal. When we start crossing over into potentially unattainable goals, we're talking about perhaps wanting your dog to immediately like all of the dogs that they meet, But if you can recognize signs of discomfort sooner, you can get them out of situations before it escalates. Maybe your dog, personality-wise, is just not really interested in playing or meeting new dogs. Positive reinforcement can go a long way though. Going back to the first potential that your dog is guarding you and doesn't want to share, they may be worried that another person will take away their source of everything good and fun and tasty. But if that person is an additional source of fun and tasty, they can warm up to that idea. And if it's a dog, well, bring out the treats when they meet. Bats often get a bad reputation, when the truth is that most species are harmless to humans. Of the roughly 1,400 species of bats worldwide, only a very small fraction, less than 1%, carry diseases that can be transmitted to people, such as rabies. And let me see that one more time because I think that's very important to know. Less than 1% of the species of bats worldwide carry diseases that can be transmitted to people, such as rabies. Most bats are shy, nocturnal creatures that avoid human contact and pose little direct threat. Problems usually arise only if bats are handled or accidentally cornered. To stay safe around bats, which I don't think you'll need to know, and I hope you don't need to know, but in case you ever do, because a lot of people have this fear of bats, I will tell you. It is best to avoid touching them, especially if they appear sick or unusually active during the day. Homeowners should seal cracks and entry points in buildings to prevent bats from roosting indoors, and children should be taught not to handle or disturb them. If a bat does make contact with a person or pet, it's important to wash the area immediately and seek medical advice, particularly for potential rabies exposure. Using netting or screens when exploring caves or forests at night can also reduce accidental encounters. But again, with the rabies, less than 1% of the species carry those. Despite their fearsome reputation, bats provide significant benefits to communities and ecosystems. Many species are insectivores, helping control populations of mosquitoes, moths, and agricultural pests, reducing the need for chemical pesticides. Fruit and nectar-feeding bats play a key role in pollination and seed dispersal as well, supporting forest regeneration and crop production. I'm just hearing a bunch of positives and very little negatives here. By protecting bats and their habitats, communities can enjoy both natural pest control and healthier ecosystems, making these nocturnal mammals valuable allies rather than dangerous nuisances. And here are some more fun facts for you, because bats are just all full of fun facts. Bats are the only mammals capable of sustained flight, and some species can live more than 30 years. A single bat can eat hundreds of insects in just one night, making them natural pest controllers. Some fruit bats help pollinate over 300 species of plants, including bananas, mangoes, and agave, which is used in tequila, if you didn't know. While most bats use echolocation to navigate in the dark, flying foxes rely mostly on keen eyesight and smell. And despite myths, bats are generally also clean animals, grooming themselves much like cats do. And now you know. Making it to the end of an episode makes you a Formosa Fauna friend. Thank you for tuning in, friend. See you next time for Formosa Fauna Fridays here on Radio Taiwan International.